Shocking new reporting by MS Now's Ken Delanian finds that embattled FBI Director Kash Patel stands accused of using more than $1 million in taxpayer funds to reward the FBI agents who went after Patel's enemies.
You suspected them of being insufficiently loyal to Donald Trump. You illegally sacked Brian Driscoll, the former acting director of the Bureau. You told him your own job, quote, depended on the removal of agents who worked on the cases against the president.
Is the director of the FBI caught up in an Israeli honeypot operation?
People are accusing you of sort of being the honeypot.
For people to act like there's not enough information out there about me to glean a real conclusion on all of this kind of vigilante research, it's bizarre to me.
So we've been watching the Kash Patel show for a while now, and every time we think it can't get more insane, he proves us wrong. So now he's being accused of funneling millions of taxpayer money into a personal slush fund to pay agents loyal to him. And apparently, Kash was also using taxpayer money to discover which agents snitched on him and told the media about Kash allegedly being drunk out of his mind on the job. So Kash created this unit called the Director's Advisory Team in 2025, but according to FBI insiders, they don't call it that. They call it the Payback Squad. And this is basically Kash's personal team that he sends to dig up dirt on people who speak out against his administration. But now it turns out the guys on this squad are getting paid for something else. So this allegation actually comes from Representative Jamie Raskin. He wrote a letter to Kash and accused him of authorizing over $1 million in special bonus payments. And I actually went and found this letter, and here's what it says. Dear Director Patel, we have been receiving troubling reports that you may be using part of the budget of the FBI as a personal slush fund to make tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in unlawful bonus payments to loyalist MAGA henchmen who have engaged in misconduct. According to information received by the House Committee on the Judiciary, your office has issued more than $1 million in awards to special agents serving on your Director's Advisory Team, a curated group of agents who are willing to carry out your unlawful partisan and personal orders. But according to this letter, Kash didn't just give those agents a one-time gift card. Raskin claims Kash was giving almost $8,000 every 2 weeks to some agents. And get this, these agents were already hitting the federal salary ceiling. So how are they getting the extra cash? Well, Raskin says they were circumventing the mandatory maximum pay caps. Now let me translate that for you. It means that Kash may have knowingly broken the law to pay off these agents. Now let's do the math. We're talking about at least 5 payments in a row, so we're looking at close to $40,000 per agent. And apparently Kash was doing this so often that he drained the entire FBI reserve fund for bonuses. Raskin claims that some payments literally bounced back. So why would Kash do this? Well, Raskin says these payments were meant to be hush money to cover up Kash's rumored drinking problem. The letter says here that these payments are possibly meant to ensure the silence of the agents who witnessed Kash's inebriation and accompanying professional negligence and misconduct. So he's talking about Kash's personal security detail, the guys who go out with him everywhere. Now, why would Kash need to buy their silence? Well, you probably remember we talked about that report from The Atlantic a couple months ago. The Atlantic ran a story claiming that Kash is MIA because of his drinking problem and that he's often unreachable. The Atlantic actually interviewed over 24 sources who were worried about Kash's conspicuous inebriation. Now, Kash, of course, is denying all this, and he's now suing The Atlantic for $250 million. But now we have this letter from Jamie Raskin, so it's not just The Atlantic that Kash has to worry about. And Raskin really went in on Kash in this letter. He said Kash was polygraphing FBI employees who were suspected of not fully participating in the cover-up of your excessive drinking habits and erratic behavior. Raskin also mentioned an incident where Kash locked himself out of his computer, panicked, and then told staff that he had been fired. And then the letter also claims that agents witnessed Kash's indiscretions when they accompanied him on date nights and bro trips. So you know what that means, right? It sounds like those payments weren't just a reward for loyalty. It sounds like Kash was paying these agents to keep them quiet about what they saw on their bro trips. Now, I don't need to remind you that this isn't the first time Kash was accused of wasting your money and using it on personal expenses. Remember a few months back when Kash was exposed for using a government plane paid for by US taxpayers in the middle of a recession to fly out to Nashville and watch his girlfriend perform? And then, after people found out what he did, the next day, Kash blocked public tracking of the jet he used to visit his girlfriend. What's crazy is that some of us still remember that before Kash got that corner office with the seal on the wall, he was constantly accusing past FBI directors of misusing public resources. He was saying he would clean house and restore integrity. Remember when he was calling out the FBI over Epstein and screaming they should release the full list?
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history? Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but release the names, right? What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority.
So that was Kash in 2023. But then as soon as he was named the new director of the FBI, Kash suddenly decided there was no list. And he even said in Congress that Epstein never had any clients.
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
So what happened between 2023 and now that made Kash do this insane switch up? Well, in 2023, he started dating Alexis Wilkins, the same girlfriend he went to see perform in Nashville. So now this brings me to the whole honeypot theory. Between her country singing gigs, Alexis was actually deeply involved in politics. Before she even met Kash, she worked as the press secretary for Abraham Hamadeh, the congressman from Arizona and a U.S. military intelligence officer. And then she also worked with PragerU. Yeah, that PragerU. If you know, you know. Here's Marissa Streit, the CEO of PragerU, talking about something interesting. Listen to this.
Of, people having dual loyalty to a foreign nation, like where do you land on that?
I think that if you had to number how many Americans have passports from other countries, you will find that there are far more Americans that have passports with other countries than people who have passports with Israel. Okay, I guarantee you that. So this idea that you can't hold two passports is frankly silly and not pragmatic. And this idea that only people who are Jewish, who are have an Israeli passport and an American passport are the bad guys is frankly an anti-Semitic statement. Every time you blame the Jew for something that literally everybody else does, you have to ask yourself, am I being an anti-Semite? Like, why would you single out one group of people that is doing exactly the same thing that everybody else does? So this dual loyalty thing is complete silliness.
So when people started connecting the dots and accusing Alexis of being a honeypot, she lost it. And she actually filed 3 separate $5 million defamation lawsuits against individuals who said she was an Israeli honeypot agent. So you got Kash using a government-owned jet to visit his girlfriend. You got the girlfriend being exposed for a lot of shady ties. And now you got Kash allegedly getting drunk on the job and using taxpayer money to keep agents quiet. I mean, what could possibly go wrong when this is our FBI director? But let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.